What's up, Autistic Nation? It's your boy, Autistic God, and welcome to Storytime with yours truly. Well, today we're not going to be doing a rap video. I don't know, it's not really for me, as you probably noticed. So today we're going to be on the subreddit called No Sleep. Now let me describe No Sleep. Basically, as explained in the title, stories that read kind of creepy stories that you read when you can't sleep at night, and it's meant to creep you out. Creepy, scary stories, basically. Here we go. Today, I'm going to be reading He Won't Leave. I don't know who posted this, but it's somebody else's story. Alright, I don't really know where the hell to begin this whole thing. It happens so fast. I've never experienced anything like this before in my entire life, and I bet nobody else has either. Maybe you guys can help me out, because I think I'm going fucking crazy. Right now I'm sitting at home at some shitty table in the mental health ward of my local hospital, trying to piece this story together from the beginning. I guess I'll start from when I think everything started happening, about a week ago. So, just some background information. I'm a 16-year-old high school student male who lives in a small town in Illinois. I have a nice family. I'm an only child with a loving mother and father. I go to school every day, come home and play video games, surf the web, go to sleep, and repeat. Pretty mind-numbing, but I honestly don't mind it. Anyways, I'm getting off the topic. This all started about a week ago in my bedroom, about 4 o'clock in the morning. For no reason at all, I woke up. Now, I never get up this early. And usually when I'm able to sleep, I'll sleep until noon. But something jolted me from my sleep that night. I sat up in my bed, rubbed my eyes, looked around my room. Something instantly felt off, which is why I was scanning my room in the first place. Then I found it. Sitting in my desk chair with its back to me was the outline of a person, just sitting there. I stared at it for a while, but it didn't move. Even when my eyes adjusted to the dark, I was unable to make out what it was. A simple shadow of nothing. I told myself it was probably just a pile of clothes that was stacked oddly. So with my new reassurance in mind, I laid back down and went back to sleep. Within seconds, I slept like a baby and woke up soundly the next morning. The matter seemed so small to me at the time that I had completely forgotten about my late night incident. When I woke up around 7 in the morning, I didn't even notice that there was absolutely nothing stacked up on my chair. Nothing that could have made that shape. I slipped out of my pajamas and into some clothes, brushed my teeth, and went downstairs for some breakfast before I headed out to school. My mom and dad were in the kitchen, eating cereal and chatting with each other. I wasn't a morning person, so I didn't talk much. We exchanged our good mornings, and that was that, before heading out to the door. Nothing happened the rest of the school day, at least nothing worth mentioning. I went to my classes and hung out with my friends. Then we walked back home like any other ordinary day. When I got home, I immediately rushed up the stairs towards my room, as was my daily ritual. Something stopped me at my door frame, however, because sitting in my office chair with their back turned to me was a boy around my age. My stomach sank as I was reminded of last night, all in one crashing sensation. Obviously, since it wasn't dark out, I got a better look at the kid. To me, he just looked like an ordinary teenage boy. Looking back on it now, my dumb ass hadn't even realized that he was wearing the exact same clothes I was wearing that day. What are you doing? I asked in a tone trying to sound stern, but my voice shook. There was an absolute silence. After a few more awkward seconds, the boy stood up slowly and faced me. Then he just walked right past me down the stairs out the front door. This fucker just walked out of my house without even acknowledging me or telling me what he was doing in the first place. I know I should have followed him and attempted to get answers, but I was too stunned. I simply stood there for a few minutes before confronting my parents about it at dinner. I asked if they had ever invited a kid over without telling me. I know, a ridiculous question. Nobody would ever do that, but it was the only logical answer I could come up with. My parents had no idea what I was talking about and seemed to be just as unnerved as I was. Thankfully, they believed me, and my dad and I ensured that we had all the doors locked before going to bed that night. However, later that night I was rudely pulled from my sleep once again. This time there was a reason for it. I heard someone's voice. I sat up in my bed and listened for the voice again. A few seconds passed and I heard it again. It was very close and coming from the wall to my left. I turned my head and saw a person standing next to my bedside. I almost had a freaking heart attack as the figure just stood beside me and talked. The problem was that they were saying words, but they weren't making any sense. They were just English. They were English words, and I understood the individual words, but the sentence was not making any sense. He spoke in such a soft voice, not whispering, but not talking normally. I don't remember everything this creepy freak said, but here are some of the sentences I remember. Wash it. The yard. It's cold. Yes, old friend. No, don't thank him. He's turning it inside out. Please, don't enter the home. Like any normal person in this situation, I lost my shit. I practically leaped backwards out of my bed and fumbled for the lamp. When I pulled the switch and flooded the room with light, it was gone. There was no trace of anyone ever being there. My head felt like it was spinning, and I rushed downstairs to wake my parents up. I managed to tell them everything that had happened in my semi-panic attack state. They believed me once again, and my dad went upstairs to find out that there was nothing still lurking up there. He came down about 10 minutes later with nothing. My mom suggested that we call the cops, but my dad, being a cop, told her that there was no point since whoever was here had already clearly left. So all three of us stayed awake the rest of the night and made sure whoever was in my room didn't return. It didn't return, at least not for a while. About a week passed since that incident. Although my parents believed my story, I was just beginning to doubt myself. If it were a real person, how did they vanish as soon as I turned on the light? It just didn't make any sense. I tried forgetting all about it, and I tried sleeping in my room again. I was half expecting to be woken once again by that thing when I returned to sleeping in my room. But to my surprise, I woke suddenly the next morning to my alarm clock. I breathed a sigh of relief and did my daily morning routine before heading downstairs for breakfast. When I made it downstairs and entered the kitchen, I almost threw up. My parents were sitting in their usual spots with their cereal, talking to each other. Sitting in my spot was that thing, that freaking kid. It was eating my cereal like my parents, but they weren't even acknowledging it. Even though it was doing nothing out of the ordinary, it seemed out of place. What the heck? I shouted, jolting my parents' attention over to me. What? My mother asked in panic. It's right there. It's right fucking there. I shouted, pointing at it. What is? You don't see it? It's right there. They couldn't see it. The boy just sat there, refusing to even acknowledge me, shouting at it. It just sat there and ate cereal like it was lost in time. My parents looked genuinely scared, but it wasn't for the reason I was scared. So, now fast forward to one day later, and here I am, in the mental health ward of my local hospital. Writing everything down on my phone, I snuck in here. My phone is snuck in here. My doctor says writing things down might help me. They all think I'm crazy, saying there's an imbalance in my brain that caused me to hallucinate. They think I had a mental breakdown of some sort. The thing is, I started to believe him, or them. That was the only explanation to it. It's not possible for someone to disappear in a split second. It's not possible for you to see something else can't. All these happenings don't make any sense. I thought the doctor must be right. I had gone crazy. For some unexplained reason, there was literally no possible other possible explanation. Here's the problem, though. My parents came to visit me this morning, and sitting right next to them, right fucking there, beside them in my hospital room, was him. He was wearing my clothes. He had my hairstyle. And hell, he was even sitting with my posture. Nobody sees him, but he's fucking real. I don't know what to do. Am I insane?